Hey everybody, it's B Diz the Rockstar, part of SuperObvious. In this video, I'm talking about how it'll be great if Bray Wyatt returned to WWE. Let's go. I haven't made a wrestling video on my channel in a while and thought it would be really cool to make one, especially with Bray Wyatt being released in 2021 and hearing that Vince McMahon has stepped down, which most fans and even employees are excited about. But Triple H, having creative control and the things it seems he has done already has been great, including the return of Dakota Kai, Karrion Kross, Dexter Lumis, and I'm sure others that were released when they shouldn't have, and also people that were on NXT that needed to be on the main roster. The Fiend had his official in-ring debut at SummerSlam 2019, where we seen his entrance, which was amazing, and he looked like he killed Finn Balor.
Oh my goodness!
Before we had the pandemic and still had fans in attendance, anytime we heard the electric sound and the lights would go out little by little and it would be pitch black for those few uncomfortable seconds, when the lights came back on, we weren't sure what was going to happen, but the Fiend was going to make somebody's day suck, and we were going to be entertained by it. This includes him attacking Kurt Angle, Jerry the King Lawler, Kane, Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman, Kevin Owens, Mick Foley, and others, including when he attacked Daniel Bryan and drug him under the ring and was throwing up chunks of his hair, which was uncomfortable to watch. Or when the Fiend signed the contract for the match with his blood after stabbing his hand with a pen. The feud with Daniel Bryan was very good with the strap match they had. Another cool moment was when he was behind Randy Orton and Orton knew it but kinda wasn't scared of him. The Fiend did stuff that was considered bad, but fans would cheer for him because of how cool his presence was, especially with the high-pitched screech sound, flashing lights, and everything else. He was scary, but awesome, and I think it was the highlight for viewers at shows and at home. In my opinion, as far as a scary and supernatural character, the Fiend has the best gimmick ever. And I mean that as far as entrance music, his very scary mask and appearance, his psychotic laugh when having someone in the mandible claw or doing anything bad to anyone. There's nods to where him and Orton had their match, which ended with Bray being burnt in the House of Horror match they had. Next, we're talking about the Firefly Funhouse segments. These were cool because they were funny, almost borderline kid-like humor, but there's always this overtone when the vibe would get very evil, serious, and kind of uncomfortable, especially when he has a direct message or a threat to a person that's in his way. He can go from doing funny stuff like the Muscle Man dance or wearing the Mr. Rogers sweater to letting us know the Fiend is coming, and I know for me, any segment with him was my favorite part of Raw the whole time he was there. And he has quotes like "Yowie Wowie" and "Let me in," which was great. Of course, there's been some things that ruined the momentum the Fiend had built, which includes him pretty much getting squashed and losing the title to Goldberg, which should have never happened, and then the whole Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins, where he got stomped and super kicked a million times, which looked lame, and the ending, how the refs stopped the match when there are no rules in a Hell in a Cell, made the match horrible, where fans chanted refund in AEW. During the pandemic, the Fiend had Alexa Bliss join her, which them together was my favorite segments on Raw. We had segments with them against Retribution, where it was the Fiend and Alexa Bliss in the ring together, and even being surrounded by Retribution, they didn't seem scared of them. And this was after Retribution kind of built themselves up to be feared by the roster. There was a match Retribution had where the lights went out and the Fiend appeared and beat the hell out of all of them by himself, showing how dominant he is, which was intense. Alexa Bliss was a part of the Firefly Funhouse with Bray Wyatt, and the chemistry between them really worked in my opinion. Soon, Randy Orton came into the picture where he started having a feud with the Fiend. They had their Firefly Inferno match where Randy Orton set the Fiend on fire outside of the ring, winning the match, and then set the Fiend completely on fire in the ring, which looks like he killed him and we were never going to see him again. As the weeks went by, Bliss was playing mind games with Orton for what he had done. She shot a fireball in Orton's face to revenge the Fiend. Bliss and Orton even had a match to where she showed her magic abilities against him. The Fiend returned at the match at Fastlane, all burnt and looked more crazier than ever, like he literally went to hell and back. But at WrestleMania 37, which was the first time fans were really back in attendance for a major show, Bliss was sitting on this huge jack in the box where she started bleeding this black blood, which distracted the Fiend, and he lost to Orton super quick, which confused and made fans very upset. After that, we pretty much never saw the Fiend again, and Bliss was carrying this on like she didn't need him anymore because she had Lily, which was this doll which was supposed to take the Fiend's place in her life. The doll, of course, was nowhere near the same, and it seemed like Bliss was supposed to be taking the Fiend's gimmick, which she did okay, but it wasn't the same. Bliss had her playground segments, which she tried to make creepy, but it wasn't the same either. She also tried to add the gimmick to matches, to where she had powers, but again, it wasn't the same. Bliss's character was in this hybrid combination of her being how she was before being with the Fiend, but still having the Lily doll to be creepy, also because it sold a lot of merch. There was news that she wanted her character to be even more darker than it was, but I guess nothing really happened with that. Around SummerSlam 2022, we've seen these teasers, which look like it could be the Fiend returning, but that was for Edge. We also have social media posts of Bray Wyatt posting cryptic messages that he could be returning. I don't know why he was let go in the first place. Most fans would agree that he was one of the coolest characters in the company, period. He was one of the most paid, so the excuse was budget cuts for him being released, but that doesn't make sense when his merch sales were incredible. I have a video going over all of his merch online, so check it out. Also, him being not human and how he no-sales people's moves was awesome. I heard part of the problem was that the Fiend, for the most part, was unbeatable, so he pretty much squashed everyone he was against. And there are some people who refuse to lose matches, especially big matches, so that was probably a problem. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I think he could be someone that should definitely return and would have the wrestling community going insane. One thing that can happen when the Fiend comes back is have a feud with Alexa Bliss, and the motivation would be how she betrayed him during the match at WrestleMania against Randy Orton, and how she just kicked him to the curb, especially with how Bray is during the Firefly Funhouse segments and being so big on friends and how friendship is forever. This could also bring out the darker character gimmick that Alexa Bliss wanted to do, them both being dark, using their powers, and playing mind games with one another. That can happen, and would be a cool story, and I doubt any story at the time would be better. Oh, and don't forget about the Fiend confronting Vince McMahon at the Thunderdome, which was funny as hell. There's a list of wrestlers that were released that were shocking, but to me, the Fiend being released goes at the top of that list for sure. I think Triple H should make the call and bring the Fiend back. It could be the greatest return, and I bet it would bring a lot more fans back to watch WWE. He is a character unlike anyone else. He has an awesome gimmick, he is a great wrestler, shows great personality, and is awesome on the mic, and the fans love him. Him alone will make more people tune in to watch whatever show he is on. I've even shown some of my friends the Fiend who don't even like wrestling and think he is cool as hell. But yeah, that's the video. Let me know in the comments if you want the Fiend to return to WWE and when do you think it will happen. We are seeing some wrestlers show up little by little, and I think the Fiend returning soon will have fans feeling like they are getting what they want and that WWE creative is listening to them. Like and share the video, subscribe to the channel for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Totally for sure.